Welcome back to the Triple Double Watch, guys. We are back to recap game two. It was a good game overall for three quarters. The fourth quarter was meaningless, but it was definitely a fun three quarters. And one of the biggest plays that will be talked about probably some tomorrow is the Draymond and Jaylen Brown interaction. So Draymond already had a technical when this play happened, and what was it? Jaylen Brown going up for a three, right?
Yeah, he got hit on the landing of the three, and they called a foul on Draymond, and they were kind of just laying there, and Draymond kind of had his feet on Jalen's. I don't know if it was his head, like kind of
Yeah,
his shoulders, kind of. So Jalen just kind of pushed his arms off, or pushed his feet off of his head,
yeah.
and Draymond didn't like that, so they kind of just started pushing and shoving each other. Draymond tried to pull, some people were saying tried to pull Jalen's shorts down to get up, and
It did look weird in the replays.
yeah. So it was an interesting one, and a lot of people, it was, both sides were arguing. I saw about got to give him a tech there, but he already had one. I mean, it's just obviously
Yeah,
there's bias, but a lot of unbiased people, including the broadcast, was mentioning that good refing knows who has techs. So like
yeah.
Draymond already had one in that instance. So they asked, what's I forget the rules guy that ESPN
Um,
uses. Was it Jabby?
Steve Javy.
Yep.
Yeah, Steve Javy.
So he mentioned Mark Jackson asked him, "Do you guys know who has techs in that huddle?" And he's like, "Absolutely,"
Yeah.
because you don't want to kick a guy out in that spot. It wasn't in the end. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was just two guys in the same spot.
Well, here's why I love that too, is because obviously at the time it was a 3-point game or whatever, so it could be a huge momentum shift without Draymond the rest of the game.
Hmm.
The reason I love that too is because if and I bring this up all the time. I feel like I've brought it up in multiple. I definitely have now. But back in that 2016 finals when Draymond got uh, a tech in Game 4 and suspended Game 5 with that altercation with LeBron. To me, I know actually LeBron knew he was one tech away from being suspended.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind LeBron didn't know, hey, if I egg him on enough in this game, he's suspended Game 5, right?
Hmm.
And same situation here. Draymond already has one tech. There's no reason. Now this was Jaylen Brown, but maybe Jaylen Brown even knows. But there's also no reason that Peyton Pritchard or Grant Williams or Daniel Tice can't get up in him and try to get a double tech because they don't. Grant Williams doesn't care if he gets a technical.
Yeah.
Grant Williams doesn't care if he gets two technicals. Really, if it means that Draymond's out the game too.
Yeah, and to
So
that
I
point,
want that
Grant,
they know that for sure.
Grant Williams was really trying. I mean, there were some moments you could tell Grant was trying to get it out of him. And that might be even from the bench. They might send Grant out there and say just try to get under his skin. But I think
Exactly.
that's just more of a Grant Williams naturally
Yeah.
does that to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they know. Everybody on that floor knows. He already had one, which I don't even recall. Was it him and Tatum that got a double? I think
I
that was. It
I
was
don't
like
really remember now either
I think
because
it was like after a whistle, and they were just kind of arguing, and then they just
it happened so quickly.
yeah,
Yeah, too.
and it was like
And
off camera. So like
I think it was a double technical though because I didn't see anybody shoot free throws.
yeah,
So
yeah, I
I
think it
don't
was him.
think at
I
least.
believe it was him and Tatum. So, but yeah,
Um,
everybody knows out there. So
so two questions on that. So if Draymond doesn't have a technical there, do you think they both get? Do you think they get a double technical there then?
it still was. I mean, I don't know. It was still it was one of those that happens almost once a game in today's NBA. But in this playoffs, we've seen people get texts for much less. I mean,
I
Kyle
know
Anderson barely even said a word to a ref and got ejected.
exactly
So
in a span of 30
yeah,
seconds.
and this man, I mean, it wouldn't have surprised me if he hadn't already had one if they had given him out. But I don't know. It seems so little in the moment.
From a player's perspective too, I could see the situation for both players, and I understand it, like the frustration and the how they were upset, both of them, and it's just kind of in the moment thing. and it didn't escalate. They didn't really even push and shove. Really, there was a grab on both sides. I thought it was one of those things. I wouldn't have cared if they didn't get technicals in general, and especially since Draymond already had one. I think it was definitely the right call.